What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? This was kind of a impromptu live stream, so there may not be a lot of people that jump on, but I wanted to test the sound again tonight to see how it's doing, and so let me know um, how it sounds once everybody gets in here. I think nobody's in here right now, so I'm gonna wait to get started until some more people join in. But like I said, tonight is take two, um, testing the sound, testing the waters, so to speak, of going live. Um, so we have somebody in here. So what's up? Thanks for joining us. I'm gonna wait till possibly some more people get here. All right, what's up, Tala, man? Happy you're here. You are, always somebody I can count on to support me. I really appreciate you sharing the links with the community and everything. So awesome that you're here. Um, but like I said, I'm gonna kind of wait a couple of minutes to get things rolling. Um, and if it's just me and you, I'm good with that because I have like a little presentation because I like to go into a live stream with something to actually talk about. Cause and you're super good at that, man. Like you've really inspired me by watching your content to take it up a notch. So I'm trying. Hopefully, how does this sound? How does it sound better than last night? I'm using a different headset than I was using during our conversation. So I really don't know how it sounds. I did a little test before I came in, but okay, awesome, Terry. I'm glad you made it. Um, so yeah, I'll give it a few more minutes for people to get in here, and we'll get started. Likewise, bro. But yeah, the mic is loud and clear. Awesome. I kind of stole my wife's mic that she uses for her work. She works online, and so I'm using that tonight. But we got another person that joined. Sup, Marky? Glad you made it, bro. I'm glad you came back after I roasted you so hard last night. It was all in love. I know I already told you that, but like looking back on it, I was like, man, I hope Marky doesn't think I'm an a-hole because I was roasting you last night. So yeah, the gang is almost all here. I think Kimmy said she may be a little late, so um, we might just get started here in a second. Hope everybody's having a blessed Sunday night. I know I am. Um, I have a very, I had a very interesting night last night after the stream that I may talk about later. It was, uh, it was very interesting. So yeah, I guess we'll get started. I just wanted to. I made some notes here. I'm trying to be like Tara with my pen and my paper. Um, I just wanted to talk tonight about the psychology of overcoming addiction. Um, so, um, our thoughts have power, to shape our perception and the way that we deal with others, the way that we deal with recovery and addiction. And our thoughts are super important. And we sometimes we can't control what we're thinking, but we can control reacting to those thoughts and continuing that thought loop cycle that happens. And I know some people with mental illness, it's easier said than done, but I am a true believer that if we start shifting our mindsets and we start thinking on higher things, that we can begin to stop those thought patterns, those loops that go on in our head. Um, it's just a shift to a higher dimensional thinking. Um, and so, yeah, I wrote some things down here. So, for me, what helps me is to read the Bible. And so, I'm going to be reading some verses here tonight. And throughout the Bible, there's so many verses that speak on renewing our minds or shifting our mindset to higher dimensional thinking. Um, but I'm going to read some comments here. Just brewed some fresh coffee and I'm good to go for however long this stream goes. Right on, man. I really wish I could have some guests hop up and talk with me because we have such good conversations together, but I haven't really figured out the StreamYard yet. So this is straight from the YouTube studio, and I'll be honest, I don't know how that works. If you can have somebody hop on, I don't think you can, but I feel that, bro. I've been stuck in the loops before, for sure, man. And the reason I'm talking about this tonight is just because what I'm currently going through. Like I'm stuck in a thought loop trying to taper off of subs. So I know if um, this helped me earlier reading these verses and just trying to meditate on how to shift to higher thinking, that it may help other people. The audio sounds good. Awesome. You can have guests on YouTube. I don't know how to do it though. Haven't tried that yet. Yeah, I mean, I figured, there's a lot of people that do that, but I just didn't know if they used something like StreamYard to do it. But that makes sense that you could have multiple guests. I can help you set up the StreamYard. I appreciate that, man. I need all the help I can get with this stuff for sure. My wife's helping me. She helped me set up this whole thing, but I don't think she's ever used StreamYard, so that would be a big help. But okay, the first verse tonight is Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what is God's will. Um, he is good, uh, pleasing, and perfect will. His good, pleasing, and perfect will. Um, so the way that this world works, um, we we're never taught to actually. I mean, there's books out there, even in like self help, that talks about working on your patterns of thinking, but growing up, at least for me, that was never talked about. It was like just whatever you're thinking is a part of you, and you take it in. And most of the time, I would just act on whatever I was thinking. So that's super important, to not think like that, and to actually um, just meditate on good things and the goodness of God and His will for your life. At least that helps me. Let's see what we got going on here. Me too. I need help. Terry, you're doing great with your channel. I honestly, the first time I went to your live, I was like, wow, is she a professional streamer? It seemed like you had been doing it for years. So, Romans 12:2. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's what I just read. Great choice of scripture. Yeah, for sure, man. And I got a lot of them here. Um, these are, scriptures that help me and help me change my thought pattern. So we got Second Corinthians 10:5. We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. And this is a huge one for me because when I get stuck in a thought loop, you know, it's telling me the worst things. It's telling me that I am a piece of crap. I'm this, I'm that, I'm no good, and I should just go ahead and use or do whatever crazy thing pops into my head. But I like to meditate on this scripture because, we're supposed to hold every thought captive and make it obedient to Christ. And even if you're not a Christian, this can help you because if you're holding every thought captive, if you're looking almost like an observer, I know some self help guys talk about this being an observer of your thoughts and looking in and saying, is this thought something that is good for me or is it, you know, some crap that I shouldn't be thinking? Thank you, Slow Mo. Thank you, Tala. I appreciate you dropping the scriptures in the chat, man. Um, so then we have Psalms 1 2. Instead, they find happiness in the teaching of the Lord and they think about it day and night. So even if you're not a Christian, again, this can help you because whatever makes you happy, makes you feel joy that you know is actually good for you, to think about that day and night instead of thinking about destructive thoughts. Um, and it can help get you out of that thought loop. At least it does for me because I actually make an effort to think on things that are good, instead of just whatever pops into my head. And here's a good one. This one's, more about the heart, but that goes hand in hand with the mind. So Proverbs 4:23, guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. And I mean, your mind does that too. You know, uh, if you just go down this road of just letting your thoughts, it's almost like they build up in your head and your thought life becomes super cluttered and you just keep going down this road of your thoughts get worse and worse and worse. And so um, if you're guarding your heart, you're guarding your mind from all of that bad stuff, then your life is going to improve. And this one's one of my favorites right here. Philippians 4:8. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think on these things. So it goes back again to actually making an effort, to what you're going to think on. And for me, I spend a lot of time reading scripture, and so when all those bad thoughts come in, I will just meditate on a certain scripture, and most of the time those bad thoughts go away at this that point. But I'm not going to just keep reading scriptures here because I know not everybody wants to hear back to back preaching like of the scripture. So I want to hear from you guys what helps you when you get, like Marky, you were saying, you get stuck in thought loops. Because I need, some advice as well on that because I know I normally go to scripture and it helps me, but any little, piece of advice that could help with thought patterns that may help all of us to overcome those, y'all just drop them in the chat. I'm just reading through here to make sure I have put a bunch of scriptures on here. So Tara says, meditation helps her, journaling too, talking with my therapist, and ketamine treatment. Yeah, those are all great things. And journaling is a huge thing. I was doing that earlier, and it's also really therapeutic to go back and see how far you've come. And always talking to somebody helps. And I'm really glad your treatment's working well for you. And how did your treatment go yesterday? I'm curious. Um, I wrote down here, you know, the power of believing. Um, allowing what we think is super important, and allowing, um, let's see, not allowing negativity and doubt um, to get into our thoughts is super important because when you get super negative, you start doubting yourself. Um, it can get really, really dark. And for me, that makes me want to spiral down, use more, I'm not using anymore, but I'm just saying it'll actually make me want to use. It will make me want to just say, "Oh, I'm just going to take a bunch of Suboxone to feel better," and that never works. So Marky says, "I have to take back control, like you were saying. I always go to being thankful. That helps me the most. I listen to the game of life and how to play it regularly as well." Yeah, man. Being thankful, that's huge. And I actually didn't even write that down, but that is a big one. When you're grateful, when you're thankful for your family, for whatever it is that's in your life, that goes a long way. And yes, that is why it is important for me to fix my eyes on Jesus Christ and pray without ceasing. For sure, man. For sure. Tara says, treatment was great. It was my best session so far in terms of the way I felt afterwards. No nausea. I felt grounded and social. Dosing was 100 milligrams, followed by 50 milligrams about 30 minutes later. Excuse me. That's awesome. That's really awesome to hear. And I hope that your treatment um, even progresses further to where you're like feeling amazing. What's up, Rach? Glad you could make it. Marky says, though I haven't read the Bible completely yet, I listen to Jack and Karen every Saturday. So my first time hearing it, I have all the tools. Who is Jack and Karen? Not familiar with them. And yeah, I haven't read the Bible fully. I mean, I feel like over all the years that I've studied the Bible, um, I feel like I've probably read it all. You know what I mean? Like I'll read little bits in here and there, but I'm actually starting a study where you just read through the whole thing because I'm sure I've missed some gems in there. Uh, love you long time, Tara. Good to see you, Rachel. Hey, Rachel. Marky, hope you're doing good. Hey, Kingdom Within. So yeah, also I wrote down stop the blame game. So God already knows and sees everything, and excuses and misplaced blame never hide the truth. So to become a person of integrity, we must learn how to accept responsibility and take action. And you know, I wrote notes down, but I feel like I left something off there. Um, basically, God sees everything. We When you make excuses, you place blame on yourself or others. Like, the truth is the truth. So, um, but and also at the same time, if we start blaming ourselves, and we can get stuck in this thought loop of guilt. I know that happens to me a lot, where you just feel so guilty about what you did. You get stuck in a thought loop, and it just spirals from there. So that's not good either. Karen B and Just Jack, I'll send you the link. It's great. Deb listens to them now. Okay, cool, man. Flat earthers, of course. Yeah. Yeah, man, I've been checking out a lot of the videos you've been sending me. It's a lot of good stuff, man. Because after the conversation I had with Tala on Kimmy's channel, I actually really wanted to start looking into the whole flat Earth, like the breakdown of it a little bit more. So, what's up, Kimmy? What about not sure Earthers? Exactly, that's where I'm at. That's definitely where I'm at. I watched a debate last night. Somebody that is a member of the Discord on Tala's channel, and she was awesome on that debate. She was killing it, and but both sides said some really good stuff. But to me, the flat earthers made more sense. Oh, you overslept. It's all good. I forgot to tell you what time it was starting, so that's probably on me. Truth is truth. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Sleeping Beauty. Yeah, you're talking about Mercedes. Yeah, Mercedes really impressed me with her presentation. And it was obvious that she was super knowledgeable because um, sometimes on debates, like, somebody will come in with their opening statement, even the cross examination and questions, and they'll kill it. But then once somebody goes in on really difficult questions, they can't answer them. But she did really well. She was able to pretty much answer everything. Um, so let's see. So I wrote down overcoming manipulation. Um, Knowing our identity is super important, and it's the best defense against manipulation. Um, when negative voices try to drown out the truth, um, we have to stand on who we are as a person, and what God says about us, and remind ourselves that we're not a piece of crap. This thought is not our thought. You know, you don't take ownership of every thought that pops into your head. And she is one of my original subscribers and is very knowledgeable. Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, like, I was blown away by how much she knew, and how humble she was during the debate. Flat earth does make sense sometimes What about the shape of other planets, though? Are they around? That's a really good question. Um, yeah, that's a really good question. Maybe Tala knows that answer. Amen. Yeah, man. So, Rachel, when I read your comments, I've never noticed it on the other live streams. Maybe it's on this YouTube studio or something. It looks like sweet and salty, and then Rachel, and it like cuts it off. So, some of your comments I can't really read, but I think it says I have to clean up my hoard in my office, but I'll be listening. Right on. Yeah, decluttering. I'm still decluttering. We had to get some stuff out of storage, and so our house is a mess right now. So I feel that. Wish I could help. The lights on my ceiling are round, but my floor is flat. Yeah, Marky, that's what this one dude was saying over and over again in the debate. So that's interesting. So I guess that goes with the planets. I didn't know what he meant when he said that. He kept saying it, but he didn't really go into the details. Wish you could, Tara. That's not a tautology? What word is that? I've never seen that before. Wow. Kimmy, you're so smart. You're dropping words that I need a dictionary for. That makes sense. Yeah, it does make sense. Now that Marky said it, like I said, the guy on the flat Earth debate kept saying it, but it wasn't in reference to the planets. He just kept saying it, so I didn't know what he was talking about. To answer your question, the so called planets are not what you think, especially when you zoom in with a professional camera. You'll see that it looks as if it's in water and continuously moving. Wow, that's interesting. That's very interesting. I'm mostly joking. Well, what does that word mean? I feel dumb right now. Like what is I can't even pronounce that. It's kind of like when I drop some terms in your chat and you're like, "What does that mean?" They are lights in the sky. God made two great lights, one to rule the day, one to rule the night. Planets look like frequencies in water on a telescope. Dope, man. That's really cool. Um, Going back to my little writing here. Can we forgive and forget? So, have you ever replayed an offense over and over in your mind? Um, Something that happened that either you offended somebody or they offended you, and it just gets stuck in a thought loop in your mind, and you're ruminating over an argument and you get angry all over again, or you get hurt because you said this and this person said that, and it's like you're there again, and it just goes over and over in your mind. um, but you know, what if we choose to forgive that person, to forgive ourselves, and extend grace to other people and extend grace to ourselves? Um, that, I believe that that can cause true healing and freedom in our lives, and letting go of, things that have happened um, really helps. Yes, brother, you know it, bro. So, what does that mean? Frequencies in water. Reflection in the ocean, outer space is water. What does that mean? Yeah, those are great questions. I mean, I just read it and was like, that sounds cool, but those those are actually good questions. I can send you some vids, Tara, that would be that would visually explain. Yeah, that seems like something you would have to visually explain instead of just talking about it. Um, so I also wrote down the transforming your mind. Our thoughts matter, and I wrote down Philippians 4:8, but I didn't write the verse down. So let's see if I can pull that up. Oh, here it is. Okay. Um, to focus on whatever is noble, right, pure, and renewing our minds with truth is the key to finding freedom and purpose. So when we focus on good things, things that are right, pure, um, that are true, that is renewing our mind. That's doing a reset into our thinking, our thought pattern, to where we're not just going over and over on all the horrible things, and focusing on the truth about situations. Sometimes it does help to think about, say, you got in an argument and replay it over in your head and look at the truth in that situation. But as long as you don't let it get to you and you actually forgive yourself and forgive other people in that scenario, that's how you find, freedom from thought loops. And I will read a few more since Kimmy joined in and missed some of those. Um, let's see. Okay, I'll just read the Romans 12:2 over again, since Kimmy missed it. I mean, you can watch it on the replay, but it's a really good one. So, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what is God's will, his good and pleasing, perfect will. So, yeah, we were just talking about stopping thought patterns, renewing our minds, shifting our mindset onto higher things. And what I wrote down was shifting to higher dimensional thinking instead of low frequency, um, low dimensional thinking. And as I was saying earlier, it's easier said than done, of course. It's going to take a lot of work, but I truly am somebody that believes that we can control what we think about. We can't necessarily control when it first pops into our head, but we can control at that point if we're going to keep thinking on that, if we're going to act on it, and so forth. So we have control of our thoughts. That's the biggest thing. Um, growing up, I didn't think I had any control what popped into my head, but the more that I've actually implemented these things, um, I've noticed those bad thoughts actually start to get less and less when I take action and think on good things. And when I'm thinking something bad, I stop it and I reflect on it and say, this is not something I want to be a part of. I don't want to do this. If say I start like, just obsessing over going and getting high, I'm not going to do that. So why would I sit here and torture myself and think about all the times that I did get high, all the fun that I had? What is the point of that? That does not serve me. And so I pretty much cut it off at that point and move on. And but the biggest thing is replacing the bad thought with a good thought. That's what I've learned is instead of just stopping that train of thought is to replace it with something good. Okay, you guys have typed a lot in the chat. Sorry I was cooking. I'll be active shortly. All good. I think I missed some things. I'm going to try to scroll back up here and see what you guys said. If I can do that, I don't even know how to freaking operate the chat. Like, okay, yeah, you guys have dropped a lot in the chat. Let me see. Okay. If you join the KW Discord, we can share more videos. Yeah, I recommend everybody. I'm sure everybody here is on Tala's channel, but Marky, I guess drop the links in the chat. Or Marky's not a mod. He's the link guy. I need to make him a mod. Or Tala, you can do it. Add as moderator. So Marky, you've been promoted after I roasted you last night. That was just the hazing process to get into being a moderator for this channel. But yeah, like I was saying, definitely, I think everybody here is on Tala's channel, but probably not everybody's on the Discord. I highly recommend going to the Discord. It's so many great people, such great conversations. I'll gift it to you and send it to you guys. Love that passage. I just wonder why it matters. Why does it matter the shape? If it's that we've been lied to, then that's no surprise. What are everyone's thoughts on the significance? Yeah, Tara, that's exactly where I'm at with the flat earth thing. And that's kind of what I was saying on my conversation on Kimmy's live stream is I don't sometimes I think it's a distraction, but after talking to Tala, it made me realize that it's actually super important to know um, where we come from, what we are on. Tara, it completely changed my life. That's dope, bro. Honestly, I've heard this question from countless people, and in fact, I myself have asked the same question when I seek flat Earth. Yeah, for sure. Like, why does it matter? I think it matters, but even if I come to like the realization that it's definitely a flat Earth, um, I'm just not one to like we're talking about our thoughts. Like I'm not going to just keep thinking over and over obsessively about the flat earth because I know some people do that. And to me, that's, I mean, to each their own, but that's not something I think has a huge significance on my day to day life. So, but everybody is different. So, I feel like you chose that verse especially for me. Thank you. Yeah, definitely, Kimmy. And if it's the Romans 12:2, that's why I read it again because um, when I was reading it earlier, I actually was like, this verse is for Kimmy. So Tara says, how so, Marky? I've been down the rabbit holes, nearly lost my mind, had to decide to just be a good person and help people. That's my answer. I'm still curious about what other people think, though. Yeah, if you mean down the rabbit holes for flat Earth, I understand that completely. But I also understand if you're talking about other conspiracies or stuff like that. You can, if you get like so wrapped up in thinking, and this is funny because we're talking about our thoughts, but if you get so wrapped up in thinking about how these people, these overlords have screwed you, you're going to start getting paranoid. You're going to start, you know, getting pissed off and all kind of things. So I think that's a great way to go about life, Tara, being a good person, helping people. Um, but, knowing that, hey, they have lied to us. But I do think it's important to research things. And I think flat Earth is not one of those that's on the level of some of the other lies, like the coof. I call it the coof lies that actually affected people during the sickness. That really affected people's lives, and to know that they lied to us, and that thinking on that and learning about what they were deceiving us with, I think actually saved some people's lives because they made decisions based on that. It's a lot to handle when you figure it all out, or figure it out. All the questions will come over time. Yeah, definitely. I feel that, man, because um, I remember when I first heard about the flat Earth, like you know, I was just blown away by even the thought of it. But over time, you'll start questioning more and more and wanting to research and find out more about that kind of thing. But there are multiple reasons why I think it's important. But the most important reason to me is that it's been proven to convert atheists to Christianity. Yeah, man. When you said that during our discussion, I was like, man, that's awesome. Especially about your journey, your story, the fact that you were an atheist and the flat Earth brought you to Christ. That's super cool, man. Choose, not choose. I'm sorry, I'm groggy. And that is because the Bible proves the earth is flat. Yeah, I mean, it's looking that way, man. It is looking that way from the verses that I looked up on it. It's, like the way that they get around it, and what I saw in the flat earth debate with the two pastors, the one that was whatever you call it, a globist, I guess you would call it, and a flat earther. Um, Man, I lost my train of thought. What was this? Um, oh, they were talking about the verses, and the globist was saying that it was metaphors. So he was looking at those scriptures as pure metaphors and not literal. And I guess the flat Earth position is a more literal interpretation of those scriptures. Once you understand that scientism was pushed upon you, you'll start asking yourself what else was also. Why do I think the way I think? For sure, man. For sure. Great advice, Slow Mo. StreamYard chat is much easier to navigate. Yeah, Kimmy, you weren't here earlier, but I was saying I haven't downloaded it yet, and I really don't know what I'm doing with StreamYard, but Tala offered to help me with it. So um, definitely before the next live stream, I will have StreamYard, and also possibly a special guest. So my wife couldn't make this stream tonight, which I was super bummed, and I had to come up with like this little um, presentation last minute because I wanted to make sure we had something to talk about. But I am hoping that she's gonna join us on the next one, or in the future. She's definitely will in the future. I don't want to say that she will definitely be here because I don't want to pressure her. I really respect my wife, and so whenever she wants to join us, it'll be awesome. Big facts broke. Yeah, Marky, I agree. I can think for myself and question everything. Everything. Yeah, that's really important to to have critical thinking, to think critically, and not just accept anything that the experts tell us. All good. Uppers recovery. Thanks for the support, bro. What's up, Big Mal? Is that how you say that? Big Mal, or is it Big Mal? I think we were talking earlier on Tala's Discord, and I'm glad you could make it, especially when they spend trillions of dollars on BS NASA missions when really all they're trying to do is hide the flat Earth. Yeah, that's really concerning. And that's what I was getting at during our conversation. That's when it goes to, for me, it goes to money laundering. Like, they're just using that as a massive scam to launder their money into all these black operations to do God knows what. Love you guys a lot. Love you too, man. You got to pick and choose what you invest your energy in. That gets comment of the day, Kimmy, for sure. Um, you know, thoughts to me are energy. Um, and so that goes kind of hand in hand what I was talking about. Um, if you invest your energy, your thoughts into um, super negative things, or if you're obsessing even on conspiracies, this can happen. Um, you really have to pick and choose, like Kimmy was saying. Tala, would you consider flat Earth to be the most important conspiracy? That's a good question, man. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for coming, Big Mall. I hope I'm saying that right. It can change this place immediately once everyone gets it. Yeah, I think that, once people actually, like, if that is something that a lot of people get on board with, it will really change things, because at that point it kind of just tears the veil off of everything that's behind the curtain, so to speak. It's like, if you're lying about the most basic thing, I mean, it's not the most important, but it's if you're lying about that, then they're lying about everything else, or most everything else. Do you think baseball represents the kingdom of God? Man, dude, that's really deep, man. I've never thought about it like that. I do know that baseball is tied to Freemasonry. I have heard that it's tied to that. I don't know a lot about that, but I do know that the symbolism of it is something to do with Freemasonry, but it also could be, you know, uh, a metaphor or a representation of that. I'm not sure, but that's a cool idea, dude. That's a good question, bro. But it would be close between the millennial reign of Jesus Christ already passing and flat Earth. Yeah, man, that's where I'm at. Like, um, if the millennial reign is actually helping a lot of atheists, come to Christ, then I'm all for it. And I'm all for talking about it. And it's a really, um, even if just playing devil's advocate, let's just say flat Earth was not real. It's cool to think about either way. Um, but I think the millennial reign is the bombshell. Like, that to me, just, dude, that one gets at that all of these, how should I say this? Religious organizations are in on the biggest lie. Like, that is such a, to not know what time we're in. Um, and especially with this end times, fear porn that they're pushing, that's yeah, to me that's the biggest bombshell. That's a good point, bro. Please don't let me get the coof. Yeah, I hope not. What's the coof? Tara, I'm sure Kimmy will say it, but that's what I was calling the virus that went around during 2020. It's the coof, the virus that shall not be named. Exactly. I don't like saying it on this platform. I know people do, but I know at least back when all that was going on, people's channels were getting deleted left and right. So I don't need any strikes just getting started out. Got it. Thanks, Kimmy. My dad has it. He's so sick. Saw him Wednesday and Thursday. I just can't miss work, is all. Yeah, really sorry to hear that about your dad, and I hope he gets to feeling better really soon. Um, wow, that's so. We were just talking about this last night, I believe, on your stream, which strikes me as really odd. You were asking if anybody had the coof, and how the strains were, like if they were weakened or strong. So that's pretty crazy. Things we can't say. Yes, critical thinking seems to be non-existent with so many these days. Yeah, there. I mean, everybody on this channel, and most of the recovery channels seem to be free thinkers, which is really, I mean, it can be hard to find these days. But I say that, but then there's a lot of people that are waking up to all the lies. So, but there's definitely a separation here going on, and that may be a part of their, the dialectic of separating people into those that comply and those that don't. That's probably a strategy, in my opinion. Big mall. Okay, I think I said it right. I like to say, use your damn brain. Yeah, you got me to cuss, Kimmy. I just read your comment and cussed. No, it's fine. But yeah, for sure, use your brain. Like, and it goes back to the programming. We've been programmed since childhood to just whatever we're told, just go along with it. So, and in school, I mean, the Rockefeller school system has taught people to just not have critical thinking. It's just, okay, the answer to the question is this. Don't think about how you get there. Just this is the answer. So we were programmed. So I'm starting to think that going to caretaker my friend's baby in SF is not a good idea. Am thinking of turning down the offer. I hope my heart is in the right place. Yeah, I mean, you know, I would say go with your gut, Tara. That's my opinion. That's typically what I do. If it doesn't feel right, then it's probably not. And you know, your heart's always in the right place, Tara. You're like the nicest person. So, got to do what's best for Tara. If she's a good friend, she'll understand exactly what changed Tara. I think she'll understand based on some new terms that just got communicated today. It just might not be a good fit for me right now. Well, there's your answer, Tara. I mean, perhaps the movie Angels in the Outfield might have something to do with your question. Yeah, yep, for sure. That was a good movie. And that's totally okay. She wants to pay me $50 a day, 5 days a week to be on call, 50 to 60 hours a week, and work 30 to 40 hours a week for 4 weeks. Wow. Um, yeah, that's a huge commitment. So, I don't blame you there one bit. Just if it's not right for you, don't do it. Always play devil's advocate is essential for sure. That's chump change there. Yeah. I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to down what they were gonna pay you, but that's yeah. I think it goes back to like know your worth, right? Should be at least 25 an hour. Yeah. Yeah, Kimmy, I don't think it would be good for my mental health, even as a favorite. No. I well, I don't want to tell you what to do, Tara, but I think you're on a very good path right now. And I personally believe you should um, continue to do what you're doing because it seems to be working. So always got to put yourself first, Tara. Yep. If this is, you know, how I always looked at it as an EMT, um, if my glass is not full, how can I help anybody else? So the more you pour out of yourself, you're going to get empty. So you have to refill that glass. And it gets to helping people, and especially being a care giver um, or in the medical field or anything like that. You have to make sure that you prioritize yourself. Your mental health is the most important, but everything else as well, because you're not going to have anything to give anybody else, and then you're going to be no good for yourself or others. Big Ma with the baseball. Dude, we were talking baseball earlier in the Discord. Baseball is about coming home, and home plate is shaped like a house. Hmm. I've never thought about that, dude. That is, yeah, that's crazy. What are we striving for to get home to Jesus in the North Pole, for our temporary home, and then to the eternal kingdom, New Jerusalem? Yeah, man. The new heaven and the new earth, for sure. There's a lot going on at the North Pole, I think. Oh, man. I, dude, I don't think we can even fathom what's going on up there. Like, even what's beyond the Antarctica, like the possible other lands, like and Admiral Byrd spoke about that a little bit, but I think that's where all the technology is. I think that's where um, all the great resources are. I mean, there's so much that could be up there. Um, that's crazy. And if the millennial reign is correct, then I believe from watching Tala's videos, that's where Jesus is reigning from, which blows my mind. Like, that's the one thing that I can't quite wrap my head around. Instead of Santa at the North Pole, which is makes me think it's true even more, because Santa is um I forget the word for it, but it's like what is the word? It's like a backwards of what Satan is. So it's a play on words to really screw us up in the head. And the descriptions of Santa Claus are like the demonic descriptions of Jesus. And so that's crazy too, man. Angels in the outfield. Yeah. Wow, I never looked at it that way. Yeah. Baseball has so much symbolism to it. So I would not be surprised, Big Mall. Yes, the burnout is real in healthcare. Yeah. For me, I think I've said this before, but I had to leave the healthcare field for 2 years. After COVID, I was burnt out. I was good for nobody. And so I became a truck driver. I said, I don't even want to be around people anymore. Like, I got my CDL. I went out on the road by myself just because I was so done with people at that point, which wasn't a good headspace for me. That's a whole nother story, but that's what burnout did for me. It made me completely antisocial. I believe there is an MLB in the North Pole. Dude, you could write a book on this stuff, man. You're dropping some gems in the camp of the saints in the Garden of Eden. Man, so you think I mean, do you think the original Garden of Eden was up there, or are you speaking of metaphorically, or what do you mean when you say the Garden of Eden in the North Pole and a beautiful capital city where Jesus and billions of his saints are? That that is a mind blowing thought. Like, that is truly mind blowing. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do it. Thanks everyone for your feedback. Yeah, Tara, I hope what I said, helped. I don't like telling anybody what to do with their life, but what I do for mine, I go with my gut, um, which for me is, praying about it and seeking the will of God when I'm making huge decisions like that. What's up with the North Pole? Santa Claus pulling some bag dumps, yo. Santa pulling bag dumps. Yep. There's some major foolery going on up there in the North Pole. And in fact, on the next stream, I maybe I can get Tala on here and we'll go through some millennial reign stuff because the stuff I researched to do with Santa Claus and the North Pole being a representation of Jesus, he sees you when you're sleeping. He's not going to give you good gifts if you're bad, which is not the way Jesus operates. It's not about how good or bad you are. It's about being aligned with Christ and accepting His love. But it's like a backwards, like demonic way of thinking about the gospel of Jesus. So I think there's something to that. What did you do in healthcare? I'm an EMT. I'm still an EMT. I actually have gone back to being an EMT. Like I said, I went 2 full years on the road. I went all over the country by myself. I wanted my wife to go with me, but she's more of a homebody. She likes traveling, but she didn't want to be in the truck, which I get that. So I would go out 3 weeks at a time, make money, and see the country, which was really fun. Kind of like Tara was saying on her stream, all the adventures. I saw a lot of things, did a lot of cool things, and it was definitely something cool. But I'm now back to being an EMT. I had to get off the road. I could still drive a truck. I have my CDL, but I know that being an EMT is a calling of mine. That's what God wants me to do. So that's what I'm doing right now. You guys are dropping some really cool questions, some cool ways of thinking things. The original Garden of Eden, yes. Oh, okay, gotcha. With the Tree of Life, and yeah, that makes sense because I know people look at this differently, but what the conclusion I came to in the scriptures is that the tree of life is actually Jesus. So when it said that they ate from the tree of knowledge and good and evil, um, they had to leave the garden because God was afraid they were going to eat from the tree of life and they would live forever in that fallen state. And so that was Jesus. Jesus is eternal life. So Jesus is the tree of life. But there are different opinions on the Garden of Eden. Um, for the location, but that's interesting that you think that is in the North Pole. I've never thought about it like that. Santa getting squirrely. Santa, like I am not about Santa anymore. Like I did that whole thing with my son where we told him about Santa. I think he doesn't believe in Santa now. He's gonna be 8 this year, this month actually, but he doesn't believe in it, but he just goes along with it because he has a little sister. So, um, but I regret telling my son about Santa Claus because I do think, personally, this is just me. After learning all this stuff about the millennial reign, I think it's a giant demonic ritual. Like, it's super sus. Bag dumps for everybody. Shambhala. Hyperborea. Is Shambhala like? I've heard that. That's what some people call the Garden of Eden. I think. Isn't that a festival, right? Right. It sounds like some EDM festival with a bunch of new age hipsters. What's up, Cindy? Glad you could make it, Mama Cindy. Haven't seen you in a while. Big Mall, that's awesome, brother. EMT is a great gift God has given you. Yeah, it definitely is. I am really humbled when I get to help people in some of their worst moments, in moments of their death. Like sometimes I'm the last person they talk to, so it's a humbling experience. It's a humbling calling to be able to help people and be there for them and be able to pray with people, when they're on death's door. That's what I like to do. Um, I don't like to force people to pray with me, by the way. I'm not that type of person, but I like to ask if they'd like to pray with me. And, it's something that, it's a calling, but basically, most of the time when I go to work, I'm like, how did I get here? Because how did I get this career? Because looking back on my addiction and what a crappy person I was, I never thought I could do something like that. And so it's definitely a blessing for sure. Reminds me of Elton John. Reminds you of Elton. What? I think I missed that one. Um, it's also names for the North. Oh, the North Pole. Okay. The names have meaning, you know. It's the circle of life. Circle of life. I mean, I know that Elton John song, but I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about. Tree of life. Axis Mundi. By the way, I vape way too much, so I'm sorry if that bothers people, but nicotine is one heck of a drug, yo. Imagine all the baseball cathedrals and people. You're blowing me away with your comments. Like, it's the way your mind works is super dope, dude. Imagine all the baseball cathedrals and people of Jesus Christ worshiping God as one in the North Pole and the capital city reaching the heights of unknown heights into the heavens. That is like one of the most poetic things I've ever read. And it's like really vivid imagery. You should definitely write that down, bro. That needs to be in a book. It's an honor to help people at time of death. That's how I feel too. Exactly. Kimmy knows exactly, well, not exactly, but she knows what I'm talking about because of her career path. It is an honor. It's humbling. Um, and I don't know if Kimmy feels this way, but it's a spiritual thing to be there with somebody in their final moments. And I have felt angels around me. Things have happened where I was like, I knew I couldn't pull this off, and somebody survived that was not supposed to survive. So there's a lot of realizations that come with that. Anything to make their transition easier. Yeah, I like to offer that for people because, um, you know, the last thing you want for somebody is to be in a really bad mindset and to feel alone in those moments. So I try to offer that for them. And I actually had a guy that a patient that was from India that was he's Hindu, and he wanted to, I guess, pray to his Hindu god with me. And I prayed with him. I didn't like force my beliefs down his throat. But I just tried to talk with him, and I learned a lot from the dude. He was really cool. I mean, he seemed to think he was going to be reincarnated, um, and so a lot of times, in those moments, why am I going to sit here and crumble his belief? But I do like to offer some truth in those situations as well, which we've had these conversations before. Everybody has their own beliefs, and but I believe in an absolute truth. So, but it is interesting to learn about people's perspectives. Sorry for talking about baseball so much. For some reason, God is telling, dude. I'm glad you said that. Like all of your comments really, like they touched me, bro. Those are some vivid uh representations, man, of what could be going on in the North Pole. So I definitely think so, man. You're tapped into something. Slow Mo has some amazing EMT stories. Yeah, man. Tala and I were discussing some of those EMT stories the other night, and I have a ton of them. But you know, not everybody wants to hear those. But I have definitely experienced some wild things for sure. So I'm finally caught up in the comments. I appreciate you guys actually discussing things because like I said, I came up with that little presentation, but it was kind of last minute because I had plans of doing the live stream with my wife and letting her, take the floor and talk about whatever she wanted to talk about. But she had some things to do, and I'm not going to pressure her to be a part of this stream until she's able to. So hopefully we can get her in here. I know she definitely will. She definitely wants to interact with you guys and meet you guys. Um, she's excited about it. So, but I guess I will talk for a minute about how should I put this? My wife fully supports my recovery. She fully supports, this channel, everything that I'm doing. I fully support her. We like to be on the same page, and I think it's important to like cheer your spouse on, and she likes to help me out with things that I like to do and accomplish, and vice versa. But as far as like recovery talk, she doesn't know a lot about it. So when she comes on here, it's not going to be a ton of, at least for her. It's fine for you guys to ask questions about recovery because this is a recovery channel. But when she jumps on, it's probably going to be more about what she's going through, her stories, her life story, and whatever she wants to share. But yeah, so we're going to be talking about a bunch of different wild things because our lives are never, it's never boring over here. There's always something crazy. So, but yeah, um, there's 6 people in the stream. You guys are ghost listening right now, or there's nothing else to say. So, I may not go on for too much longer unless the chat lights up. You guys want to talk about something? Um, thanks for the heads up, Morrison. Yeah, yeah. She just, like I said, she fully supports it. She's all about recovery. She's just never dealt with an addiction before, so she just might not have a lot to say. Um, I don't know if she wants to discuss how she feels about my struggles and my addiction. So I like to really respect her boundaries on that. We discuss it all the time, but I don't know how much she wants to share on YouTube. So just keeping it 100. Yeah, thank you guys for the support, all the thumbs up. I feel like this live stream went a lot better. I didn't feel as awkward and like I was a psychopath sitting in a room talking to myself. So I guess practice makes perfect, So it seemed more natural. You guys were asking great questions. We had good conversation. And the sound hopefully was a lot better. You guys were saying it was. So I guess I'm gonna keep using my wife's headset until we set up our microphone and get a actual real setup in here. You're getting better and better the more you go. I appreciate that, man. That means a lot coming from you because you're the OG of live streams, man. So love you guys. Yeah, for sure. Love all you guys. And I guess the next stream I'm shooting for is Saturday. And fingers crossed, the wife will join me. So I'll do a, what you call it, pre schedule. I'll schedule it a few days before. So just keep checking in. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a good night. Peace.